Some people ask, why did I focus on the topic of courage? Why is courage so important? Well, courage is really critical because where your courage stops is where your leadership effectiveness in life is going to stop. Where your courage stops is where your effectiveness in your family life stops. Where your courage stops is where your personal effectiveness stops. Courage comes from the French word cœur, meaning heart. It is that sense of bringing the heart to bear. So courage is finding your heart. And encouraging others is helping people to step into their hearts and find their hearts also. Without courage, you can't lead. Without courage, you can't really succeed. So the first act of courage is the courage to dream a better dream, to put that dream out there, to express it. John Fitzgerald Kennedy did it really well when he said, in this decade we will put a man on the moon and we'll return him again safely. We didn't have the technology, the engineering know-how to do it, but we did. When Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. said, I have a dream that someday all God's children, black children, white children, Jews and Gentiles, will come together at the table of brotherhood and sisterhood. He was putting out a dream that in apartheid America didn't seem possible. All right? Back then, it'd be impossible to think of a man of color being elected as President of the United States. Things have changed. That's the first act of courage. It's the guiding star. It's where we're going. The second act of courage is the courage to see current reality. It's the ground I stand on. It's the foundation from which I move. If I don't have the courage to see all of my strengths, all my limitations, all my assets, all the barriers, there's no way I can be successful. I have to know what I'm up against. I have to know what I have to work with. And there's a lot of people who'd rather put on the blinders and not know. Let sleeping dogs lie is their maxim. Well, if I know where I want to go, my guiding star, and I know my foundation, the next piece is to get there takes 5 acts of courage. If I know where I want to go and I know where I am, what I have to work with and what works against me, 5 more acts. The first act is the courage to confront, to put your truth out there. Again, as the Quakers say, telling truth to power. But doing it with respect, with dignity, with caring. Being able to put it out there in a positive way. If you don't tell your truth, your soul diminishes. Every time something happens and you don't put your truth out there because you're afraid of the consequences or because you're afraid or because of self-doubt, you diminish your soul and a piece of you is lost. The courage to confront is claiming your voice, finding your voice in this world. The next act of courage is the countervailing part of that, which is the courage to be confronted. In fact, the coin of integrity has 2 sides. One is the courage to put your truth out there, and the other is the courage to hear the truth of other people. Now, my truth, your truth, doesn't mean it's the truth, but it is the truth of the person coming to talk to you. And if you don't listen, if you won't listen to that person, if you won't take it in, you're saying, I'd rather not know, my ego is more important than being effective, and I'd rather fly blind, even if it means I'm going to run into a mountain. So the courage to be confronted is one of the biggest issues in corporate America. People are afraid. We have a lot of innuendo, a lot of rumor, a lot of stories, a lot of back-channel chat, a lot of conversations after the meeting in the hallways because people don't have the courage to have the conversations. They don't have the courage to be heard. Well, to continue to move towards my dream from current reality, it's not enough to have the courage to confront and be confronted. I have to have the courage to learn and grow. And to learn and grow simply means that I have the courage to let go of my addiction to being right. And so many of us have grown up having to be right. We will fight a technical point and prove we're right and damage the relationship. Damage this, and we miss being right for being successful. But also the courage to learn and grow is the courage to step into ambiguity, into the unknown, to step into uncertainty. And if we won't step into uncertainty, if we have to be certain of every step, we can't learn and grow. Well, that's not enough. It also takes the courage to be vulnerable, which is a big one for most of us. We know we're going to be hurt. We know we can be hurt. If we're going to love, we're going to be close to people, we're going to be hurt in life. The courage to be vulnerable means I know I can be hurt. I know if I love, I will be hurt. I know that there's loss in life. And yet I would rather have loved and lost than never have loved at all. I'm going to have the courage to be open and vulnerable to other people, to their wild ideas, their creativity. Max Dupree, the chairman, CEO of the Herman Miller Corporation for over 20 years, very successful under his tenure, said, first and foremost, leaders must be concerned with vulnerability. Vulnerability to the talents, abilities, ideas, and needs of those around them. That's a big issue. If I can't raise my hand and say I need help, I can't say I don't know, I can't let you know how much I need your help, I'm never going to get the engagement, the motivation that I really want. Finally, the seventh act of courage is the courage to take action. It's where the vector of where I want to go, where I am, the courage to confront and be confronted, to learn and grow, to be vulnerable, all come together. They inform the courage to act so that my actions are wise and just and powerful and effective. Courage is necessary not just in business, though. It's in our personal lives. Do you have the courage to dream with your family? Do you have the courage to see the current reality of what's working and not working in your relationships? Do you have the courage to confront and put it out there respectfully and lovingly? Do you have the courage to hear their truth and not get defensive and shut down? Do you have the courage to be open and vulnerable? Do you have the courage to learn and grow, to learn new ways, better ways of relating and connecting? And do you have the courage to take action on that? That's why courage is so important.